25 minutes. We got to go.
Hey, yo. Let me see if I can get myself situated. There it is.
There it is.
Happy Wednesday,
everyone. Day. I'm back on my exercise ball, everybody. And I am really excited to be here.
Yeah, today's going to be a blast.
And so if this is your first time joining us, welcome to the Our Say That community, where we are unapologetic about talking about the ugly come up in business. So you guys all know that you love hearing those stories about how people start from nothing and then have this massive success, right? But what happens in the middle? What happens during the ugly come up? Well, we are unapologetic and talking about that process that happens in the middle. And what we're really excited is to bring guests, to bring other entrepreneurs, other people who are in the mix, who are in the struggle, just like me and you. And they bring us their wisdom, what they've learned, things that could really help you and your business take it to the next level. And so we're really excited because today is one of those days where we have a guest. And so we've got 25 minutes to answer the topic of the day. 25 minutes, and it goes so fast. But don't worry, we're going to go into overtime after the 25 minutes. We'll go into overtime, and to join us on overtime, all you have to do is become one of our Patreon members, one of our community members on Patreon. And that's as little as $10, $25, or $50. And for all of those different memberships, you get a ton of different things, including access to overtime, where our guests go even deeper into the topic. And so you don't want to miss that. You also get access to all the other overtimes that we've done in the past with past guests. It's a community. We get to continue to talk about the conversation. It's just a really great place to be. So thank you to all of our current community members, and we look forward to adding any new members really soon.
Absolutely. And guys, if you are brand new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you know each and every week that Janelle and I are going to be bringing you value. It definitely helps the algorithms. It helps get this content out to more people. So also share whatever, if there's things that you like. If you are watching this as a replay, definitely comment. The guest and Janelle and I, we will all go back and make sure that we get all your questions answered. But without any more delay, let's get into today's question.
All right, here we go.
All right, guys, today's question is
it possible to lose your essence in your business?
Oh, I think we're going deep today. My goodness. Essence, though? Essence?
I love this. And so we are not alone here. It's not just going to be us who are talking about this. We have today an amazing guest who's joining us, who's going to get into answering this question. She is just an absolute joy to be around. She is a mom. She is a boss queen. She is someone who cannot help it. It is a part of her essence to really and truly just help other people and share positivity and light with all the people that are around her. And I am just super excited to bring on the CEO of Honor Your Essence, Margie Nolasco.
Our next guest.
Let's go.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for that introduction. That was really, really sweet. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Welcome to the show.
We're very excited
I'm
to
excited
have you
to
on.
get started. I'm super excited.
So, for all of the people out there, if this is their first time seeing you, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your story, about, where you were when you decided to create your own business and Honor Your Essence, and how that kind of just the origin story, how that all came about.
So, Honor Your Essence came from my own personal development. I was in a place where I needed to heal. I needed to find myself. And so I created a website. It was Honor Your Soul originally. And then I realized, and when I started to create it, and I was just putting out these blogs and these messages of empowerment, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. When I was putting out these messages of empowerment for myself, really, I had so many other women and men alike that would reach out to me and say that messages that I posted or things that I posted stopped them from, ending their life or help them see life through a different lens.
Wow.
And in that, I realized, and I had a few people ask me, "Are you a life coach?" I said, "No, I'm not a life coach. I'm healing, and I want other people to heal." Mm-hmm. And then I went through my own transformation. So I decided, why not become an actual life coach and really expand in who I can help and how I can help and help other people become empowered. And so that's pretty much where Honor Your Essence came from. It was from a genuine place of me wanting to not just me go through my own transformation, but also help other people transform and really connect to their own truth and their authenticity. So then I rebranded it from Honor Your Soul to Honor Your Essence. Because really, your essence is the core of who you are. It's the soul of who you are. It's you. And that's pretty much what it is.
Wow.
Oh,
Shout out to Jennifer, because that's
you
how
know how that all emotional, just talking about like honoring
Say
the
that.
essence of who we are.
I mean, it is so important. And I think right now, I mean, you touched on it. I mean, just saying it, like, man, it's like who you are, it is your soul. And so many of us have gone through a kind of journey, especially during this time that we've just all gone through in terms of COVID and everything like that. I feel like people have just organically gotten to a place and space where we're just really wondering, who am I? Who am I really?
Yeah.
And am I really getting fulfilled and satisfied and filled by the things that I am doing every day, right? Like I just think that your journey into even creating your brand just makes total sense, right? Like there's so many people who can resonate with that. So I love that. I love that story.
But I also find that during COVID, a lot of people did find themselves really wanting. People started to really question, who am I really? What's my purpose? What am I really doing? And a lot of people started to leave their corporate jobs and their regular jobs and decided, you know what, I'm going to really take inventory of my life. What does it really mean? What does my time here on earth really mean? And how am I really valuing myself? How am I really doing something that's really giving me some sense of who I really, really, truly am?
Yeah, joy.
That,
It's funny.
Everyone is searching for their own nirvana, right?
Always.
Everyone is always looking for their, and so many people are now just looking for their inner peace.
Mm-hmm.
It's like right now, more than ever, you have people saying, if it's threatening my inner peace, I'm not.
I don't want to be with it. Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting. As you were talking, there was this interview I saw with the late Bob Proctor, where he was talking about just this idea of how we choose to identify ourselves. You know, we identify with our jobs, we identify ourselves, even sometimes within our family construct. I'm a mom, things like that, labels we throw on ourselves. And Janelle and you both kind of hit on it already. It's like, I think the pandemic or just this idea of being home kind of forced a lot of us, when you lost some of that identity, to have to go, well, who am I if my job's closed, or if I can't provide this service that I'm accustomed to, you know, where am I in all of that? So it's definitely incredible.
Oh yeah, but see, when so many people were working remotely or from home, and we were all shut down.
Yeah,
right.
You had more time than ever to really sit and reflect. So you had more people going into mindfulness, more people meditating, more people connecting with their inner selves, because all you have is yourself.
Mm.
You know, with COVID, with the pandemic, we can't really call it what it is, right? More people were kind of forced to really sit with themselves and really, really. And that's when you really get to know yourself, right? When you're sitting with yourself, and then you realize, you know what? All this time, I thought I liked this and I thought I wanted that, but that's not really. I was really living my life based on someone else's value, on someone else's ideals.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're reconnecting with self, which is super important.
Can I ask? You mentioned. Oh, sorry to cut you off, Jay.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, like, I would love to get into like the nitty gritty of the question, right? Is it possible to lose your essence in your business? Like, what have you seen?
Wait, before then.
Personally or with your clients, what have you seen as people are working their businesses? And what would you suggest to help?
A lot of my clients are, I don't have many who are entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Right? But what I have seen what I will tell you as a business owner is, you have people who will start a business not because it's something they're passionate about, but because they just want to make money.
Right.
Now that's where I feel like it's really easy to lose yourself, because there's no passion tied or connected to this business. But when you're running a business or starting a business where it's something that you're passionate about, it's the niche that you really it calls to you. It's your calling in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for you to really lose your purpose, other than the fact that, like I was just telling you a little while ago, when you have to bend and fold your integrity, or you feel that you're bending and folding your integrity, and and boundaries are being crossed, you're losing your essence within your building your business. It can happen, but when you're passionate about what you're doing, and you understand who you are and what your goal is ultimately, it's a lot easier to bring yourself back and say, you know what, remember why you started.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why I always say you have to work and walk in faith, because without those two, it's easy to get lost. It's easy to kind of lose the essence of who you are, with all the pitfalls that you and I say that you have to work and walk in faith, because you're going to be challenged, you're going to be pushed, you're going to find yourself in a space where you go, why am I really doing this? Who am I doing this for? So you have to remember your purpose and have faith in that, and know that it's going to work out.
There has to definitely be something with life coaches, because we had a guest on, Brian Winston, and I'm
Shout
listening
out
to
Brian
you.
Winston.
I know, for real. But there was one time he was describing, he used to be a personal trainer, modeling, and just one day he same like, well, the passion just wasn't there, and he was just like, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? And it led him, recognizing that led him to that path that he's now on, helping others like you do. A question I had, and it's funny, I think it ties right into it. How do you separate, or you mentioned you changed the name from soul to essence? What does that mean? Like, what is that? Yeah, what is essence to you? Like, how do you
To me,
define
essence to me is the core of who you are. It's basically your soul.
that? Okay.
Right? But I didn't want to scare people off by thinking this was a spiritual thing, because it's not, because it's not religious. And if you say soul, some people say, oh, this is some kind of religious
Yeah.
so I said, well, how can I reach other people without scaring them away, thinking that this is some extreme religious thing?
Yeah.
Well, I said, well, how else could I describe a soul? Because this is really still what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I said, wait a minute. And then one day I just went into meditation, asked for the answers, and they said, it's the essence. It's the essence. So I was like, oh, well, thank you. Thank you for that answer, Spirit, Universe, and God.
Amen. There go business tip number one: how to rebrand yourself. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Let me tell you, my first logo, that literally I created it myself, and it looked like the ABC logo. And then I said, wait, because I thought it was like it's a lotus. It looked like an ABC logo. So that rebranding definitely helped. That rebranding definitely helped.
That's a big deal in itself. There it is. All right.
Wait, it looks like Winston's actually now going to take a look.
No. But I'm just thinking, because again, obviously, one of our missions is to help entrepreneurs. So it's one of those things where, similar to what you may think, somebody may have seen the title for today and think, lose my essence. Nah, I'm good. I'm just here for, how do I get $ to get here? And it's, again, that thing. Some of the things we talk about is how you're losing motivation. You're not necessarily, and I saw Jeannie commented about knowing your why. Not realizing that if you don't have that foundation kind of set, the money is going to come. But if that's not there, you're not focusing on those things, those aspects, we can kind of stay very surface level sometimes, even in business. And we don't realize that that's some of the reason why we're not excelling or having the success. You were going to say something, Margie?
Yeah, I was gonna, because you just said the money will come, and this is something I always say as well, is if you're passionate about what you're doing, don't worry about the money. The money will come. And that should not be the main focus, although we all want to be financially secure and stable, and no one wants to go through some kind of financial crisis. However, if you're doing something that you are passionate about, the money will definitely follow. And like Jeannie said,
Okay.
thank you for pointing that out, is you have to know your why. You know, my why is I know what I went through, I know where I came from, and I know where I am today. And I haven't even reached I'm still growing. I'm still, like Michelle Obama said, I'm still becoming,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's going to be forever. You know, you have to know your why. You have to know your why. You have to know your purpose and why you do it, which is directly connected to your passion, right? So the money will definitely come. Eventually, at some point, it could be today, it could be tomorrow, but the passion has to be there.
Yeah.
And that should be your why.
So can
You
you
know?
talk to us about the business model of being a life coach? It's very interesting to me. At one point, I remember even the industry of personal development. It's one of those things where it seems kind of gimmicky. I feel like it's one of those things where people are, and forgive me, I hope this isn't, but like you go to this thing, you get a certificate, you put it on your wall, and all of a sudden it's like, how are you now able to tell me like, how do you now coach somebody on their life? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that in itself
It's
seems
not,
like such a
I mean,
big endeavor.
now I can't speak for other life coaches. I can only
Okay.
speak for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of true that, you go to your class, you get your class, you have your classes, and you just get the certificate, and boom, you're a life coach and you can do what. But for me, it's more about really helping people transform. And I've seen it through my clients where they're just I've had clients who they're almost like they're at their wits end. They're like, I don't know what to do. And if you see some of my reviews, they're like, after I've spoken to you, after receiving some of your services, even a portion of it, with like my the program that I have where I do intuitive life coaching,
Mm-hmm.
I have repeat clients because it's all about the transformation that they go through, which is very similar to the one I went through. It's something that I believe in, and it's not like, it's almost like a therapist without someone who can prescribe. It's like you have a friend, a cheerleader, and someone who is rooting for you and but at the same time holding you accountable, because the work is yours, because your happiness is an inside job. So you have to connect to that inner part of you. What are you struggling with, and how can we get from I don't know what my purpose is to, all right, so let's sit for a moment and think about what your passions are, what your goals are, and how can we create a program that is going to align you with the life that you want to create.
Wow.
And I do that through my programs. I do that through the workbooks. And every workbook that I create for my clients is very specific and curated specifically and tailor made for each client.
Oh, that's a big deal.
That is a big
So
deal.
it's not just I don't do like a one size fits all. It's more like let's have an introductory call and let's talk about where you see your life going. What do you really see? What's your vision for your life? Some people just don't know how to get to that point. So it's more like, okay, so if this is what you want to do, this is the kind of program I can put together for you. And I create a very specific program to that specific client. I don't use a one size fits all, because your transformation goal is not going to be someone else's.
Say that. That's true. We're each so different, right? Like,
And the one thing I love is I always say you have to love yourself unapologetically. Which is why I love that whole unapologetic, when you go, we're going to speak about, because it's important to love yourself unapologetically. And it's important to be unapologetic about who you are.
Sorry, I have so many thoughts, so many questions. So a part of that is like, it's funny because there's a part of, and I don't know if it's society, culture, family,
all of it.
All of it. Yeah, sure. Yes, all of it. That just like really, it's counter to what you're saying, right? It almost seems revolutionary what you're saying, to be unapologetic for like who you are, right? To accept who you are when so much, well, one, our biology, right? Like the human brain is set up to, you know, want to belong, kind of like this, like we are kind of like a pack, kind of like herding, right? And that we want to belong. And that's like from our primitive brain, because we needed that in order to survive, right? Like way back in caveman and woman days. But then there's like still that part of us. And then it's like built into culture and structured into society and kind of like the things that you should be doing. Like you should be fitting in, you should be a particular way, you should look like this.
Yeah,
you should dress like this, you should speak like this. Like in order to have success, you have to do this, right? Like there's so much of that built in. Like just saying something like, no, you should be unapologetic for who you are. I'm telling you, if even hearing you say it feels revolutionary. Because like so much of what I think many of us think is like, I'm okay here, but like not okay there. And like that part of me is like, whatever, I'd rather just hide that from people and hope nobody really sees it. Right?
Right, but that's why it's important to just, you can't put yourself in a box and conform to anyone else's standards and ideals. Because if you're doing that, then you'll never really authentically and truly live for you. That's it's important to really gain a deep understanding for who you are, no matter how long it takes you. And we're always changing. So maybe today I liked iced tea, and tomorrow I won't, because we're all changing. And every day, every single day, as you're growing, you're changing
yourself. Yeah.
So, okay.
Hold on. Before you continue, Janelle, hold on. I just want to jump into this question. Yeah. So it says, you briefly mentioned mindfulness a few times, Margie. Not sure if you got into it, but what does it mean to be mindful? And can it help you preserve your essence?
Oh, great question.
That is a great question. For me, mindfulness is going within yourself. Mm-hmm. Going within yourself, it's about, that's a really good question. I'm like, wait a minute. For me, it's mindfulness is going within yourself. It's being authentic to you. It's about, like, for me, mindfulness is me it's when I meditate.
I was just about to ask you. Yeah, I was just about to ask you. Is that what your meditation kind of does?
Like when I go into like my meditations, and and I just kind of shut the world out. You don't have to shut the world out to be mindful, but for me, in that sense, as far as you go within yourself and you can kind of just close the world out, and that's how you connect. And that's the connection for mindfulness, and how you connect that to your essence. It's really just shutting it all out and just going within yourself.
Have you found
answered that question?
No. I'm sure. I'm definitely sure. Have you found, and I'm happy you touched on it already, that meditation is one of the processes? I know you mentioned you have workbooks and other things you've created that'll help people get to that place. But for your own self, is that something that you find that you use, or does this life coach have a life coach herself kind of advice?
I do not have a life coach. I wish I did.
Okay,
I wish I did have a life coach when I was, when I was going through my own transformation. I wish I had one.
Okay.
But this was all about, this was me journaling, going in my diary, and I used to do poetry. And then, actually, I connected deeper to my own intuition, to myself, really, when I was introduced to meditation. And I would use like binaural beats, solfeggio tones.
Oh, I do that now. Okay.
And I would and then I learned to just light some incense and just myself into, like, just shut the world out for a moment, because the chatter and the clutter, and when you all day you're listening to other people's ideas, other people's ideals, other people's of you should be doing and you should do and you should be. When you hear all of this around you, or just the things that you see in society, it's important to kind of close yourself up and go within yourself and meditate. And so many answers that you receive when you're in meditation, as far as your purpose and your goals and where you should be taking your life, all your answers are within you. You just haven't tapped into that part.
Yeah. It's so funny you mentioned that. I was talking to a guy who's asking some relationship advice, and I'm sharing just my thoughts on things. And he's like, "Yeah, man, I agree." And I'm just like, you realize that if this didn't resonate with something that is already inside of you, that you are aware that these things are there, none of this would hit. You know what I mean? Like if it wasn't already something that within you, it's a truth for you or whatever. The things I'm saying, you would just brush off. And he had to stop and he was like, "Man, you're deep." And I'm like, it's not. It's not. Again, we're all capable of these things. It's just we lose. One of the teachers I follow who talks a lot of the stuff you do, Marjorie, Abraham Hicks, talks a lot about. There you go. See, already there. But she talks a lot about this recognition that our inner being is already where we find ourselves desiring to be. It's why we have this conflict within ourselves, or why we find different emotions that the negative aspects of it, or she calls it upstream, downstream, that kind of vernacular. She gets into that, but it's the sense of you are already or enough. If that may sound corny, but you are already the answer to your problem. You know what I mean?
Or the answer to your question, not the problem.
There we go. That's why I need a life coach, guys.
So keep the questions coming in. If you have a question, please go ahead and put it in the comments, because Margie will actually answer your questions, as you can.
And I am a big fan of Abraham Hicks. Let me
there
just
we go.
That.
Yeah.
Abraham Hicks. I don't know if you've heard of Earl Nightingale.
Yes. Read a lot of his books as well.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. Yeah.
Believe it or not, we have just hit the timer. So I have a question as we go into overtime. I can't even, time goes so fast. As we go into overtime, something that I was thinking about is some people work off of or motivated by gains. Like, I will get this if I do this. And most other people are motivated by loss. I will lose this if I don't do this. So my question comes from that place, and you can ask it from two different directions. I'll start with how most people see things. And what do you lose? What do you lose by not honoring your essence, by not honoring who you are? And conversely, what do you gain when you do?
Oh wow, that's a good question, because I feel like what you lose by not honoring, I guess, your essence is your sense of self, your sense of your self-worth. Because and I feel that a lot of people they're looking for outside validation.
Yeah.
And that nothing and no one can add value or diminish your value but you.
Yeah.
Right? And if you don't mind, could you repeat that other question?
It's okay. We're gonna go into overtime. So
the other one was what do you gain?
Yeah, what do you gain?
Absolutely everything to gain.
Well, hold on. No. We're not gonna give up the juice. All of this is gonna happen on overtime. So if you want to hear what Margie has to say about the rest of our topic, please join us in overtime. You can do that right now. Just go to the description below, and there is a link to become one of our community members on Patreon. We will be on Patreon live. You can see Margie there. For those of you that want to follow Margie on Instagram, she is a real person. You can find her at Honor Your Essence on Instagram. You can reach out to her, talk to her. If you want her to become your life coach, this is the place where interaction happens, and make that happen for your life. We're super excited. Thank you so much, Margie, for being with us. I mean, this is really been amazing.
I loved it. And thank you for everyone for tuning in. Thank you.
Absolutely. Guys, keep throwing those questions in. We will take the extra questions into overtime with us. So definitely there's even more reason and incentive for you guys to subscribe now.
Jennifer, we see your question. It's going to get answered in overtime. Don't you worry.
It definitely will. It definitely will. All right, guys. And where are we? There it is. Boom.
And
that's the extra bonus time.
That is, yes.
Okay.
As always,
remember you deserve
the good life. Say that. All right, guys. Have an amazing Wednesday. We'll see you guys.